Okay, we're recording.
The very most important part of a computer, because it makes everything run, would be where you plug it in. And this piece, what do you think that piece is called?
The battery?
No. This is called, it supplies power to all of your devices and to your motherboard. This is called a power supply. Not very, you don't have to be very bright to figure that out. That's what it is. Coming out of the back of the power supply is the power cord that goes to your wall outlet to supply power to your computer. On the other side of the power supply, you'll notice a number of wires coming out. Those wires supply power to all of your devices, everything that runs your computer. What we're going to do is we're going to begin at probably the most important thing that it supplies power to, and that would be your motherboard. The motherboard is the big green, red, blue, whatever it is. It's the circuit board that contains the majority of the workings of the computer. It's connected to the power supply by a large, see here, right in here. The connector's right here at the base of the motherboard. To disconnect it, you have to push in the pin on this side. You're going to see it on this side. See it? That pin. Push it in and pull out. Oops. And pull it out. You can see by the type of connector that it has, it's very distinctive. You can see on the motherboard itself, very distinctive style. Then we have the first connection that we have on this computer is to the hard drive. And the hard drive contains all of the information. That's where you store your files. That's where your computer's operating system sits. That's where everything that you see on your computer screen, that's where it sits, where the information sits. And this lead right here, which in this case is P6, pulls right off. And that's called a serial ATA or SATA power connection. We'll keep that off to the side. Now, when you connect a hard drive, you have power that it supplies power to it so it can spin. And then this connection, a serial ATA or SATA data connection, connects the data side. And in order to disconnect it, you see the pin here? That has to get pushed in and then pulled right out. Oh, just like that. It also connects on the other side to the motherboard, and there are 4 serial ATA or SATA connections on the motherboard. You see where those are? Awesome.
Are all of them always connected?
Depends upon, you have to have a device like a hard drive or a CD-ROM that's serial ATA, this type of connection, in order to have one. But you'd have to have one of these cables for each device. In this other computer that we have, you can see there are 2. And there are 2 power leads, and there are 2 data leads that lead to 2. And then there's a third. So for every device that you have to have a power lead and a data lead so that you can get your data out of there and make the computer run. Now on this device, we also have one IDE, which is this old style ribbon cable here. That's like really old technology, but this machine has it, and it's for its CD-ROM drive, which is up here at the top. And you see, this is the old conventional power pin, and this just pulls out, pulls right out. And now you could use any power lead. This is for multiple devices. You see, you could have different types of devices. That's why there's different power leads coming out of your power supply. So, and then there's and if we said if you have a power lead, what do you have to have with it? What's this? Data.
Data.
So you have to have power to run your CD-ROM. Then you have to have a way to read the CD-ROM, right? And that's what this lead is for. And this is the old IDE lead. Disconnect that. It's a black. And on the motherboard side, it's also there. We won't disconnect those quite yet. So now, peripherals are anything that's outside of the motherboard. We've disconnected all the peripherals. So basically, this computer will not work right now. Cannot work, no way. Because it's got no way to get any information to the motherboard. And it's got no way to power anything. You can't even power the motherboard. Back to what we talked about with the motherboard. On the motherboard itself, which is where the brains and all the operation are, you have different types of things here. Now, in order to run any computer, you have to have what's called RAM. RAM is random access memory. Okay? And in this computer, you have 2 RAM chips. They sit parallel to the motherboard. They stand up where the motherboard lays flat. And to disconnect the RAM, you have you have white locks. You push those locks out. You can push them out together on both sides or one at a time. And you'll see the RAM pretty much just pops right up. Bam. And what we see with this RAM is what's called a SIM.
How do you find out how much RAM is on?
Yeah, let's see, even written right here on this. You see what it says? What's it say?
1 gig.
1 gigabyte.
Okay.
So these are 1 gigabyte chips. Okay? So you have a total of 2 gigabytes of RAM in this computer. Also connected to this computer, which not all computers have, these are PCI cards. And these PCI cards could be anything. They can be modems, which in the old days, we used to have to do it in order to connect computers. We actually had to have telephone lines. So we don't do that anymore nowadays. But this card that we're pulling out right now, and we'll show the world, hello, that card is a Wi-Fi. It's a wireless G air card. So you can connect to the network in your house wirelessly. So you don't have to plug in a wire to the wall. It also has a little antenna. This one's not in that great a shape because Alana broke it. But that's okay. It still connects, and it'll connect up to the wireless network in the house. No problem.
I broke it.
Yes. This card, which is so old and crusty, it's not even wanting to come out. This is that old school thing that we talked about, a modem. A modem stands for modulator demodulator. And it takes in your telephone line and turns it into what a computer can understand.
Dusty.
Now, on this motherboard, looks like we have
It smells like
another power lead. And this power lead powers, and we're not going to take this apart. Although you'd like to, it's not going to happen. Underneath here is your processor. That's kind of like the brain of the whole operation. All of the information coming from whatever device goes through the processor and gets processed out and then gets sent back out. This computer has a power lead to the motherboard for the processor back here. It's a 4-pin power lead. Some computers have them, some computers don't. You'll have to check you have to check on your computer that you have to see if it has an additional power lead or just the single multi-pin power lead. Some computer motherboards require more power than others, and therefore have this power lead. Bam, and out it comes. So now your power supply is completely disconnected. In order to take your power supply out, there should be 4 screws on the back. And we'll be taking those off right now. So we have those 4 screws out. Now we can just lift out. And if we had to, if the power supply broke on this computer, we'd be able to replace it. Bam! Power supply.
It's dusty. Ew.
Yes, power supplies are dusty. Okay. Now, also on the back here, you see there's a fan that goes to the back of the case. That provides additional cooling, because the one thing that kills computers faster than anything in the world is heat. That's why if you see sitting right on top of the processor, there's a very big metal thing. That very big metal thing is called a heat sink. And the heat sink takes all of the heat that is generated in the processor, which is a lot, and it spreads it out. And then on top of the heat sink, this has a very big fan. And this fan blows out. So its job is to take the heat that the heat sink is getting off of the processor and pull it and shoot it out of the computer. So that you get all that hot air coming out, all that heat comes out, lets your computer run cool. You also have this back fan right here, which we'll disconnect. Ta-da! It's now disconnected as well, the back case fan. Some computers have them, some computers don't. But there are leads that tell you where the case fan goes.
How do you take it off?
It just pops off, straight off. There's
this.
no... That fan, there's 4 screws on the back here, but you don't need to take the case apart. That's not part of the computer. That's just the case. Okay? So what you basically have left now that the motherboard is attached to is everything in the front. All your buttons, your lights, and everything like that. Those usually are found right along the edge, the bottom. Stop. We're doing the best we can. Okay? And I really don't want to take all these leads off. God, they're such a pain in the neck, and you got to know what you're doing in order to put them back in. Hopefully they won't make you do that. So now we have left is the motherboard. If you look at the motherboard, there's usually 8 to 10 screws that connect the motherboard to the case. They're right here, right along the edge, and right in the middle. We'll go wah na 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 na. This has one. You want to do these? Other way, lefty loosey. There you go. Two. Okay, we removed 8 screws from the motherboard. Those attach the motherboard to the case. Now we should be able to. Let me make sure. Hopefully. Oh. Pull the motherboard completely out of the machine. Now, other than the leads that attach to the front of the computer for the power and for the lights and everything like that, which are here and they're all marked. We didn't want to really disconnect them, but they're pretty easy to read because there's parts on the motherboard that say what they do. This machine is completely torn apart. Except we didn't take the hard drive and the DVD out, but those are, you take this screw off and just pull it right out. They're really easy. It's just the screws that pull them out.
So this is the hard drive?
That's the hard drive.
And what's this?
This is just a cage that holds devices, and this is that's just the DVD in there. That's it.
Okay.
You've got now just the hard drive and the DVD in there.
Okay.
So now, and if you look on the case itself, you see posts here. What these posts do is they let the motherboard stay just a little bit off the case, so there's still a little bit of air. And what does airflow do?
Cools it.
Bingo! Because
Don't snap it.
because cooling is the most important thing to keep it cool, right? Now, if you look in the back of this computer, these 3 connections back to the back. On the back, there's blue, green, and red. That is for your sound. Okay?
Mm-hmm. It looks kind of like a traffic light.
Right. Right next to the traffic light, you have USB, Universal Serial Bus.
Bus.
Yes, that's what it's called. Connections. We have the USB connector for the keyboard and mouse in there currently. And right above it is a 10 megabit, 100 megabit
How do you find that
network
out?
connection. You can see it by the connector right here. That's your network. So
How do you find out how much it is?
99.9% of them are going to be 10-100 unless they're gigabit. Okay? Then 2 more USB connections. Then you have this blue is for video for your monitor. There's a magenta or pink connection. That's a parallel connection for a printer. For a printer. There's a serial connection, which is for really old stuff that you're probably never going to use. And then there's a green and a purple connection for a mouse and a keyboard if you weren't using a wireless, but you are. Okay? And that's pretty much a computer in a nutshell. Now, in order to make a new computer work, you'd get all of these parts together. You'd get your motherboard that you wanted to buy, and you'd get your RAM that fits in the motherboard, and you'd get a video card, or you'd use the video that's on board, and you'd put this all together. And that's the end of taking it apart. Now we're going to put them back together. So how do you think the first thing you got to do is? You got to put your motherboard in. But when you put your motherboard in, look at this. These pieces right here are the most important part, and they fit into these. Oops, let me pull this thing off first. It'll be much easier to fit through like that. That's how it kills. Exactly. Lay it down. Lay the motherboard down. Let it lay. And look in the back, and we'll turn it to you so that you can do the work.
I think I almost got it.
Boom, I see. Nice fit.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So now you come back around here, and what do you think you need next?
The screws?
Excellent. This way, that's where it is.
We've got to put back this.
No.
Oh, the RAM?
What's the most
The
important
power
thing?
supply.
Aha!
Where is it? Oh, it's over here.
Okay, so where did we say? Now you got to look at the way this is. We said these leads are where?
On the bottom.
You were paying attention.
So
go ahead.
Can you get the dust out of the way?
Big dust bunnies. Yeah.
Can't get in there. There we go.
Now she drops right in. And now we look in the back. Alright, now we're going to secure this with 4 screws. We're going to turn this off because we don't need to show. Alright, we're back. Power supply is back in. So now the hardest power lead that we're going to have to put back in. And again, I said check your motherboard to see if it's got an additional power lead. This one did, this 4-pin power lead. And this went in between the processor and the back of your case. Actually, let's go back of the case to the front of the case. The back of the case, we had this fan. If you look down here, there's a power connector for that fan on your motherboard. It's a 3-pin power connector. You see the 3 pins? See how it's notched in the back? Now, you see on the motherboard right here? See the 3 pins? See the notch in the back? Plug it in. Bam! You heard it click? You're in shape. This, see there's 4 pins and this little detent back here that opens it up. You look on the back and you see back here, you see where 4 pins and like a little ledge is that you can hook into. Dead.
Hard to get to.
Not the easiest one. Like I said, that's the hardest power lead to get.
Stupid fan.
You found an easier way to get at it. Did you get in or no?
Yep, almost. Heard it click.
Heard it click. That's the good sound we like to hear. Now, oh no. Alright, well, we'll do it this way anyway. So now, the next power lead that we're going to connect up, we're working from the back to the front, is going to be, let's do it on your motherboard first. What did we say was the motherboard power connector? The big one right there. And again, you see how it also has a click on the front and it goes just like that. Oop, nope.
Wrong way?
Nope, you're not connecting it right. Now look at how many pins there are and look where you're putting the pins. It's got to fit directly into there. So this has to be on the last pin. Nope, you're not doing it.
I'm missing in there. Oh.
Thanks. Okay. So now we're going to connect up is your DVD. How many pins are on that? Is it going to be this type of power lead?
What here?
What do we call that? That's the serial ATA power lead, so we're not there yet. Then you connect a regular power lead to the back of your DVD. It's the old IDE power lead.
Go this way or the other way?
That way, perfect. There you go. It's in, okay.
Oh, okay.
Actually, let's connect your data lead first, okay? Data leads are not easy to connect, especially the old IDE, because look at how many pins you had.
A lot.
You had a lot of pins. But if you also look in the very middle, what do you see?
Closed one.
A closed one. And if you look back in the back of the lead here, what do you see there?
No pin.
Which is open. So that tells you that that has to go in that part. So that tells you which way is up. Ah, look at you. You connected it easy, and that's the hard one. Okay? And then we'll put the power lead back on for this. Bam. So now, in conjunction with this lead, which connects the data from your CD-ROM to your motherboard, you've now connected your power lead from your
Power supply.
into your
DVD.
perfect. So the next thing we have to do is what? To make the whole thing work.
This?
No.
No, this.
Gotcha. And what is that?
The hard drive.
What is it of the hard drive, though? What is this?
I don't remember.
What do we say? There's two parts, right?
6.
Two parts to getting the stuff off the hard drive to the machine. First thing you need is, where's this coming out of?
Here.
No, where's this coming out of?
The power supply.
So this will be the
Power part.
power supply. The
Power.
power lead to your IDE hard drive. Now, if you look at the way this is, the serial ATA hard drive, my bad. You see the way this has got like a little L shape at the end? Boom, boom. You see the way this little L shape is here? Should push right down. On. Now you need you've got power, so now you need data.
The data.
And the data lead we said is the red cable.
Cable.
And you see how that, look at the connection there.
There's another L.
Just like, yep, just like that. Should click
And
right.
there's also a part right here that goes into this.
Exactly. Bam, clicked right in. Now the one thing we're missing to make the whole thing work, it has to be in there.
See?
Negative.
The RAM.
RAM.
Does it matter which way it goes?
Yes, it matters very much which way it goes. And what you'll look at is what? What do you think the distinguishing feature on where it connects is going to look? You're looking for?
Right here?
No. The notch at the bottom. Do you see a notch at the bottom?
On both of them.
Exactly. Do you see on the motherboard where the RAM fits in? Do you see a something where that notch would fit? Right there. And right there. You have to make sure that your notch lines up with that. So it goes in this. You see this? You see this? You see on here how you got like a little, like an opening? It's almost like a little holder for it. So it kind of grabs that. Whoops, gotta have me open. Cool. It leads it right in there. Now, in order to set RAM in properly, the best way to do it is to be right over on top of the motherboard, which you're going to stand up, get up on your knees in this case. You'll be standing over your motherboard, and with fingers on this side and on this side, push straight down until you see the gates will close by themselves. Do you see how they locked themselves?
This one isn't locked. Okay.
Okay, and you see the notches on the side where the gates lock onto? There you go. So first open them up, exactly. Put it in the lead on one side, whoops. There you go. Aha. Nice. Very well fit. Okay. So now you should have a completely working computer. What you're going to put in now are peripherals. They don't need to be put in there, but your computer has them. So which one do you want to put in first? What's
the funny
that?
one.
The funny one. Called
The one with the Wi-Fi.
That's it, the Wi-Fi. So we first take off your antenna, your broken antenna. And these are called PCI slots. And again, you see how this has
Notches.
that notch right there lines up with that notch right there. But you also have to understand the back of the computer. If you look in the back here, you see how these slots have slots inside of them? No, look over from the top. Right here, you see the notch, like the notches right there? That's how this part fits right in there. Boom! Now push straight down from the top. Bam! Perfect. Now you'll put your modem in right next to it.
This way?
Same exact way. Notch in. Bam! Then that locks them in normally. Now we can put your antenna back on this side. You'll spin this around and we're going to see if this fires up. Bam, bam. So the first thing you want to connect is?
The blue.
Which is? Video.
Video. That goes into the blue, right?
Yes, it does.
And go.
Only goes one way. Yeah, screw it down.
So it's color by color?
Exactly. Because, computer people like your dad aren't too bright, so they give us colors because even the dumb ones can handle the colors. The next thing we're going to connect is?
The green of the traffic light.
Which is?
The monitor?
Sound.
Sound. Goes into the green one.
Yes.
Because it's green.
Always goes into the green one. Now, what do we need to do?
There's one more cord, isn't there?
Nope.
No, we need a...
Well, yes, there's one more cord. And that cord
Oh.
is this cord. What is this cord?
The power.
Power cord. And what does it plug into?
The power supply.
Wouldn't that be amazing how it does that?
Okay.
Now we turn on the monitor.
We turn on the computer. Ooh, that's a good sound. Alright, let's move this. There's the monitor. Hopefully starting up. Wait, what does that say? Oh, hey. Hey. That's good. Yay.
We completely took apart, put together, and made it work a computer.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to Alana's lesson on building a computer.
Wonderful.